How's it going, all of you fine people from the internet? My name is Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, and I am going to bring you a Transformers review today. Today we're going to be reviewing a first-party figure. This is the Power of the Primes Swoop, and this figure, I like this figure. I like this figure a lot. I like this figure enough that I'm thinking about maybe picking him up. I don't know. I mean, I like the Dinobots. I think they're really cool. I think it's kind of a tragedy that we've never really got good toys of them, you know, in the modern age. And when we do get Dinobot toys, we basically only get Grimlock. Yeah, I know that we did get them all for the movie figures, but don't even get me started on that. But here's Swoop, and he looks like his G1 iteration, and he actually looks really good. Like, he's cleaned up really well. He doesn't have, like, all sorts of kibble. He doesn't have, you know, he's got the things that are part of the character, like the wings. I mean, he looks the part. His face sculpt is great. It just... all around, I like this. The design of it, the little details, is all pertinent to how he's supposed to be in his G1 iteration. He does come with some accessories. He's got his little sword here, and we can plug that into his fist. The sword is molded entirely in clear plastic and then painted entirely in red. Aside from here where you plug his fist into it and it'll just rub off anyhow, and here where you plug it into something else and it'll just rub off anyhow. So that's cool. By that measure, I think that also this whole back part of his head is also molded in that clear plastic and then painted. Speaking of clear plastic that's painted, this one is actually perfectly easy to see. The face, the head of his Dynamo is molded in clear plastic and painted on the inside, so this is never going to rub off. And it has that look. In the G1 toys, they had like the vacuum formed, or you know, the vacuum metallized parts on the inside, and then had a clear part that went over it. Like, all the Dinobots had this, and they've carried it across, and it's such a nice looking effect in person. I'm just so happy about it. I just dig it a lot. But yeah, he does have another accessory. He does have another accessory. It's this fist thingamajig. The Power of the Primes figures are all meant to combine, like, Combiner Wars and Titan's Return all together in one line. So all the Voyagers are Combiner torsos, and all of the deluxes are Combiner limbs. But now they're also going to combine with, if you pull this, jeez, come off. Okay, what? This is fighting me. Why are you fighting me? There we go. If you pull this off, this, by the way, can also, if you see, it's got like little gun details on it. This can be his gun. He can hold a gun. Doesn't look anything like the gun he had in the G1, but it's a gun. It's a gun. Then you've got this thingamajig here, which you can insert a Prime Master into this. A Prime Master is basically a Power Master, or sorry, is basically a Titan Master, but without a face, just a little like geometric pattern on it. They're supposed to represent like some sort of like a matrix of power of some sort. Each one is supposed to be one of the original 13 primes. And then that will plug onto his chest. It's got these tabs on the thumbs, and there's these two little slots to either side of his head here. And we'll just take that and plug it in and wrap it around, plug the other one in. And yeah, check it out. Check out how cool that looks, man. That's just the awesomest thing I ever saw. Like, seriously, man. No, get off. No. I get that they're trying to combine all the gimmicks together, but I've long felt that the gimmick for a transformer should be that it transforms. And when you start adding other gimmicks on top of that, like, it makes things obnoxious. And when you're adding gimmicks on top of gimmicks, it's not working out too well. But let's briefly go over his articulation. He's got, I think this is supposed to be a ball joint, but like he'll have like only the most barest fraction of up and down movement, mostly just swiveling. His arm would probably go all the way around if it wasn't for the wing that's in the way. His bicep rotates freely. He's got an elbow joint, 90 degrees right here. He doesn't have any kind of swivel at the wrist, though. He does have, someone's going to say this is ratchet, but it's really just detented motion at that wrist. If you're not worried about this beak hanging all around, you can get some waist rotation out of him, and it's at a good cut too. So like, it's a good place for waist articulation. His legs will go forwards all the ways, back all the ways, out most of the ways. Not the full Van Damme, but about, you know, like 80% Van Damme. We'll call that a good 80%. Knee will bend a little more than 90%. And he's actually got some ankle. I know this is for transformation, but you know, he's got some ankle articulation, so he can kind of be like, you know, put his toe down to have him strike a pose like so. If he wants to stand up, which he does. See? So that's cool. You know, it's cool. But yeah, so in terms of doing all the other recent Prime Trilogy gimmicks, he is a combiner. He does have an arm mode and a leg mode. So let's get him transformed up. Let's do the arm mode first. So to get him into his arm mode, we're going to fold these in. We're going to pull all his head aside, kind of close it all up. We're going to rotate him here, put these legs together. This is going to come out. We're going to bring out the fingers, if the fingers want to come out at all. Ow. What's your problem, fingers? All right, I'm just going to use something. Leverage. Save your fingernails. Plug that in there like that. Oh, that does not want to stay very solidly. Plug that in. I'm going to pull this out. His arms will bend like this. There's this tab right here. Oh, geez, focus, grasshopper. There's this tab right here that's going to plug into. There's a slot in his waist right there. It's going to plug in, and then we're going to fold the wings over that. And that is his arm mode. It's not the best arm mode. I think that this guy makes a far better swoop than he does make an arm. And I think that's pretty much true all the way across the board. If you really are bothered by this gap right here, that you can just you can even hide stuff in there. You can probably hide your allowance in there. You can certainly hide other things in there as well. But that is a sizable gap. You can just take this and turn it around and just have it only bend at this joint now, instead of having a double jointed combiner elbow. And that, I don't know. I mean, it looks better-ish, kind of. But the biggest problem is that with all the stuff, these don't want to combine. These don't want to go together. So they just want to come untabbed. So other than that, like, I think he would have been a pretty good arm if these want to stay together. But because they don't, I don't think he makes a very good arm. So let's see how good of a foot he makes. We're going to take these and we're going to Combiner War style fold these down. Like so. And then his elbows here, I think they'll just stay plugged in on the same connections. There's these little divots in the wings that'll go to these tiny little tabs on the arms. And help you to pretend that everything is working out all right. I'm starting to think that's not where those want to go. I'm starting to think that these want to just go straight down to the sides. Like I said, I'm just borrowing these from a buddy of mine. I actually borrowed them like the other day. And then I've been busy with work and school and all sorts of other stuff, so I don't know. Nothing in here really wants to, like I feel like I've got it all lined up properly, but nothing here really wants to line up. So but yeah, that is essentially his combined mode. It makes like a pretty decent little compactified little brick with a joint on it. I think that all in all, he probably makes a better leg than he does an arm, which is kind of a shame because I don't know that anybody else in the Dinobots make a good arm either. The foot he doesn't come with. This only turns into a hand. There's no foot mode on this. The Voyagers will each come with 2 feet. The Deluxes each come with 1 foot, and so you have to have all of them to make a complete combiner. And then when you get that all squared away, you have a surplus of hands. So I don't know. I don't really like this gimmick. I think that these Dinobots are perfect as Dinobots and mediocre as this whole combiner thing. And if you look at the Volcanicus combiner, I think that's like the saddest excuse for a combiner that we've had in a long time. But that's just my thoughts. Hey, that's why we're here, right? To listen to my thoughts, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, to turn him into his swooping mode, we're going to open these back up. We're going to extend out his legs again the way they should be. We're going to combine them back together, and then we're going to pull his wings out. His wings have got several detents in here, and we're going to put them out 1 click. And then these tabs, these T-shaped tabs, are going to fit into these T-shaped slots. Oh, wow, T-shaped tab, T-shaped slot. Who'd have thunk? So we're going to just peg those in right there. And we're going to fold these down right here. And that's basically Swoop right there. And I like it. Swoop looks all right. He's got his, like, flying mode like this. I've been looking over this figure, trying to see if he's got one of those ports. The last few years, they've been including a little port for you to put them like on a Figma stand or a Tamashii Nation stand or one of those popular, figure stands. And I don't see one on him, which is it's kind of sad because he's a flying figure and he would look great on a stand, like flying around. But his swoop mode looks fantastic. This is very, very G1 swoop. And he's got, if I can get a grip on it, his mouth opens and his wings will articulate a little bit. He's got a little bit of movement on his feet. Really, it's just enough to like have him here when he's flying, and like to go like this when he's sitting. And when he's sitting, you fold his head down on this joint here, and he's, you know, little swoop. And I think he looks great. This is a really nice swoop. Like if I were to get into these figures, I would probably buy the Dinobots. But I would buy them just to be Dinobots, and I would get on the internet and complain every chance I got about the sacrifices that they made to my Dinobots to make them a crappy combiner. And while I was at it, I would tell, you know, kids to get off my lawn and stuff like that, because, you know, I'm just feeling that nostalgia for the G1 Dinobots. G1 Dinobots are one of the few G1 toys that I really like and really feel that they aged well. Simply because so much of how I view those Dinobots, like they're supposed to be chunky, they're supposed to be blocky, they're supposed to be all these things that the G1 toys are. Whereas when I look at some of these other figures, you know, I feel like they're supposed to be more, you know, articulate and more whatnot. So I really like the swoop. I think it's fantastic swoop. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, he's got the most questionable placement here. You can actually take this, and there's this little peg here, and it'll go into this port on his chin. And that is literally how you store his sword in his Dino mode, is it's just attached to his chin. I'm like, what the? Who thought that was a great idea? I don't know. Anyhow, I recommend this figure. I don't recommend him as a combiner, but I recommend him as a Dinobot. This is a great swoop. This is the best swoop we've ever had. Ever. Like, I would say in some ways he's better than the G1 swoop, because he's got like elbows and knees, you know? So, everybody, this is Zachamus Prime. I'm signing off. You all have a wonderful day. Go ahead and leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I appreciate all of the support I can get, and I do make an effort to respond to everyone, because I mean, I have hardly anybody that I need to respond to. But you all have a wonderful day, and be good to each other. See ya.